Good morning, friends. Hope you're all doing well. I'm starting off this video with what I do first thing, which is pumping milk. Here I got tons of milk because I haven't pumped or fed since I went to bed, so it's always the highest yield. On this day, we gave our baby a bottle for her first feed of the day, though I switch between doing that or nursing, depending on what we have going on. After our morning routine is done, and baby has her first nap of the day, I get some computer work done, and then I pack some milk to put into our freezer. Here you'll see that I have a sort of ice cube tray that we put breast milk on. Each cube is about 10 ml of breast milk, so we do this because I primarily have those breast milk storage bags where I store 100 ml of milk, but obviously baby isn't going to drink exactly 100 each time. So to prep for that, we're also doing this so that we can add a few cubes to the 100 ml when needed, so we don't have to waste milk as much as possible. This is something I learned from a midwife, and it's such a good tip. I also make sure to drink tons of water throughout the day, especially first thing in the morning, of course. I also learned this time that you can just put your pump in the fridge and clean it once every 24 hours, instead of cleaning it after using every time. This has been so helpful so we don't have extra work to do when pumping. I also have two kinds of pumps. This one is the wireless pump that you can just pop into your bra, which is so convenient when you're on the go or have other things to do that you can't do sitting down. I also have the more classic one that you might have noticed earlier, which I only use for the first pump of the day since I'm just sitting down for that. I find it so helpful to have two pumps because they have their pros and cons, and if for some reason one is not available at the moment, we're likely to have the other one on hand, unlike if you only have one. Obviously, you don't necessarily need to have two different ones. The less mobile pump is one I had with my first daughter already, but this one is one that I just got recently, and I love having the option for what I need. Another thing you can do is to buy a whole new set of the same pump, so the motor stays the same but you have another set that you can basically alternate with, which also gives a similar advantage. So today I'm filming my breastfeeding / pumping routine, and this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. Basically, since I was pregnant, I've already thought about doing this because I really want to share all of the knowledge that I've learned breastfeeding my first child and now breastfeeding my second, because I've learned so much and I feel like not many people know this, and it's not, obviously I'm not an expert, just take it with a grain of salt and see what works for you, but these have been the things that have been working very well for me, and this is my second baby, so I have a lot of experience with breastfeeding / pumping. So my first baby, I breastfed her until she was over 14 months. So I breastfed her / nursed her in the beginning, and then after a few months she stopped latching altogether because she just preferred bottles, because we did me breastfeeding, and also partly she was getting bottles as well because my husband was helping out and then my parents were here as well and they were also helping out, so then sometimes they would feed her. And so this baby, I decided that I would want to really nurse her much more than offering her bottles, so that she doesn't get that preference for bottles instead of nursing. And now my problem is actually the opposite. So this baby now, my second one, she prefers breastfeeding, like nursing directly on me instead of getting the bottles. And so now we're working on getting her to get used to the bottles and being fed by the bottle with a bottle. So that's a different topic. That's not for today. But yeah, basically my first daughter, she got milk from me until she was about 14 months, and my goal for this one is to get to at least a year as well, that she also gets breast milk for at least a year. And then if it's a little bit more, then it's also amazing. With my first daughter, I stopped pumping for her out of my own choice. It's just I felt like it was good. I already reached my goal. I surpassed my goal already. So for me, like, I just felt like it was time. I was ready to finish my journey, my breastfeeding journey, basically. And I felt like I was very happy and content with that decision. I didn't lose my breast milk supply or anything. She was able to completely use my breast milk, which is so great, so amazing. I was able to continuously give her my milk, and I didn't run out of supply or anything like that. It didn't get a significant decrease that made it so that she would have to get supplement with formula or anything like that. So yeah, I feel like I just have a lot of tips that I've learned throughout then and also throughout this time around. And now I'm more heavily nursing, but we're also doing like basically combination nursing and also trying to feed her with bottles sometimes, so that when she starts daycare, it's also not going to be too difficult. It's already a little bit difficult now, to be honest, because she prefers nursing directly on me, and she doesn't really like feeding with the bottle, and she doesn't eat that much with a bottle, but that's another story. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in this video, I'm filming my breastfeeding / pumping routine, but now I want to go through some of the tips that I've learned throughout both my first and my second. And yeah, I'm just going to go through it, and throughout the rest of the video, I'm still going to give more tips. So the first one is, it's very important that you get a lot of sleep and a lot of rest. And I know it is very, very difficult, especially when you have a newborn, you have a new baby. It's probably one of the most difficult things to get enough sleep and enough rest, but it's very important that you try as much as possible to get as much as you can. And this is because if you don't have enough rest and enough sleep, your your milk supply is going to really, really suffer for it, because your body is just kind of like in survival mode. In survival mode, it doesn't really have enough capacity to also be able to breastfeed a baby, you know? As much as you can, try to get as much sleep and rest. Get your partner involved, get your parents involved, whoever can help out. Get some naps in. If you don't sleep that much throughout the night, try to get as much naps in between during the day as well. And I know that it's so tempting to try to get things done and knock things off your to-do list while baby's asleep, taking a nap during the day. But please, like, take care of yourself as well, because it's not only for you, but it's also for your own supply, and eventually it'll also be for your baby. Second one is something that's very obvious. It's hydration. Make sure that you get enough water throughout the day. I have like this big jug of water that I drink throughout the day. I basically try as much as possible to get between 2 to 3 liters a day, which is a lot, I know, but you really, really need it, because now is the time that you really need to drink the most water that you can possibly have. Because yeah, obviously breast milk is made out of water, a lot of water, so you really need to make sure that you're replenishing your body so that it can like produce as much milk as possible. And hydration means water, but it can also mean coconut water, which is very good for increasing your supply. Coconut milk is also very good for increasing your supply. Basically anything coconut is really good for increasing your supply. So try that. I've also been drinking a lot of like kind of like Gatorade kind of thing, because it has like the salts that are really good for increasing breast milk supply as well. And I actually really enjoy it. Like, I didn't drink it that much before now, but I really enjoy it. So I drink water and that like pretty much every day. I don't really drink that much coconut water or coconut milk. I do it from time to time, but I don't really like the taste of coconut water. So I prefer the taste of the other one with the salts, and it's been working really well for me. Second is nutrition. It's so important that you're getting enough to eat, And I know that a lot of moms get insecure about body image and things like that. Postpartum, you know, your body is fluctuating and it's just going all over the place, and sometimes it's difficult to lose weight and stuff like that right after having a baby. But literally it took us 9 months to create this baby. Give yourself enough time to lose the weight afterwards. If you're not even 9 months, don't have to worry about it. Like, seriously, especially if you're trying to breastfeed as well. Because if you try to like do some calorie deficit and stuff like that, it might affect your breast milk supply. Just eat as much as you need and as healthy as possible, and that will really help with your supply. I eat, literally, I'm not kidding, 6 times a day right now. And I eat like the 3 meals, and then in between I have my snacks. I'm not even worried about it because I know that everything is gonna like go back afterwards, and it's gonna go, you know, after I'm done with my breastfeeding journey, and I can like do any whatever diet that I want. But right now my body just needs as much calories and as much hydration as possible to be able to produce that milk that will be very, very helpful for my baby. Okay, so now which foods to eat. So there's so many different things out there that you can see what food you can eat. There's oats. Oats is really, really good for increasing your breast milk supply. That's something that I eat pretty much daily. I have oats pretty much every morning for my breakfast. And so I have oats and then soy milk with my oats. And apparently soy is also really good for breast milk supply. I didn't even know that. I was just having that with my breakfast, so that works out really well. I think chia seeds also helps with breast milk supply. And I also include it in my oatmeal. Anything coconut, as I mentioned, so I also put like some coconut powder and stuff like that in my oats, so that really helps. Apparently Oreos, there's an ingredient in Oreos which makes it like really good for breastfeeding and increasing your supply, so try that as well if you want. I don't really enjoy eating Oreos just like that, so sometimes I make muffins with Oreos. I honestly didn't really see much of a difference personally, but a lot of people say that it really works well for them, so you can give that a try. A lot of people also recommend brewer's yeast. This is an ingredient that you'll also see in a lot of lactation cookies and stuff like that, so give that a try because that can help boost your supply as well if you want. I haven't personally tried it, so I can't really say if it really works for me, but a lot of people seem to be having luck with it as well. If you're pumping, make sure that you're having the right flange size in your pump. Make sure that it's the right size. I didn't know this before, and so I had like some pains when I was pumping with my first, and apparently that was because my flange size was not like the right size for me. And then once I was aware of that and then I corrected it, it was such a game changer because I didn't have any of those pains anymore, and it was much easier to pump. And it, like this time around that I pump slash breastfeed, I barely had any pains or cracked nipples or anything like that, which is so great because the first time, yeah, that was really rough and like painful like some days. So I don't think I even had any bleeding this time around. So make sure that you're having the right flange size if you're pumping, and that you're also replacing your pump parts, because apparently that duckbill that you see when you're pumping, that also needs to be replaced every few months or something. I honestly I didn't even know about this until recently, and I don't even do that, but people swear that it works to help to get your pump to work even better. So then it means if your pump is working better, that you're gonna get more, more out of that. Breastfeeding positions. So I've learned so many different kinds of positions this time around because I'm more heavily breastfeeding this time around than I was last time. So last time I was just doing the cradle hold, like a typical common thing that you see on TV, how you would breastfeed a child. So I obviously still do that. It's one of the easiest ones. You can also do the football hold. That also helps, like, especially if you've had C-section, so the baby isn't like in front of you on your belly area. In the beginning of postpartum, you can do like a football hold, so your baby's basically like this, lying like this, and then like with the head here and then the body here, and that can really help with breastfeeding to make it like more comfortable for you. And my most favorite that I've only done this time around, I didn't do it when I first, my favorite that I always do as much as I can is the side lying position. It's the most comfortable position ever, and I'm so sad that I didn't notice before the first time around, and I'm so happy that I found that this one works very well for us, because like when you're so tired, especially in the middle of the night, I literally just get my baby when she's crying, and then I put her beside me, and then we just lie down beside each other, basically facing each other, and then she just nurses on me like that, lying on her side, and I'm also lying on my side. Just make sure that if you're doing that, that your baby is like facing towards you. His body is also like facing towards you, and not like this and then like nursing like this on you. Like they need to also go like this and then nurse on you like that. Because imagine like you don't eat like food like this, you eat your food like this, you're facing your food when you're eating it, and it's also a really comfortable position for us, which is great. Highly recommend it, especially when you're a tired mom, which who isn't. Make sure that you're also putting like all the support that you can have, especially like in the beginning. I feel like now it's a little easier for me somehow to find the right position with breastfeeding, but before, in the beginning, it was like a bit of an adjustment, especially since it's been a while since I've done it. And then, you know, you're trying to navigate like, how do I do this? It's so helpful to have like those breastfeeding pillows. I have one that is like that's like really firm kind of mattress. I don't really remember what it's called. It's kind of like a C shape, and then it has like a buckle thingy in the side. It's really good, and I've seen a lot of moms like rave about that thing, so I ordered it myself. I actually ordered it secondhand because the brand new one was very expensive, and I wasn't sure if it was even going to work for me, but it did, and I'm really glad that I found it, especially in the beginning of breastfeeding. I still use it until now, but especially in the beginning, it's like really helpful. And then basically baby's just lying down on their side facing you, and then you're just sitting down and you're breastfeeding them. The weight of your baby is distributed, and so it's not just on one side or the other, and it's really good for your back and your shoulders. Because when I didn't do it, sometimes I would get lazy and I didn't do it, and I didn't put it, I just put her directly like with me, and I noticed my arms like started to hurt a lot, and my shoulders and my back as well, especially my shoulders like started having some pains. And then when I went back to using it again, it almost like disappeared miraculously. So it was really just because I was putting so much strain on myself, on my body, when I didn't have enough support. So make sure that you have the right support also to make it comfortable for yourself. And one of the most important things while breastfeeding and increasing your milk supply is to just latch as often as possible, and you know, when your baby needs it, to try to offer both sides. Because sometimes I have to admit that I get lazy and I just offer like one side, and usually she's quite content with just that, which is great then. But then sometimes she like quite obviously still wants to nurse even more, even just a little bit more, then I offer like the second one. And it's really good for like, you know, your milk supply, to make sure that you're regularly emptying both as much as possible. And in the beginning I even like tried, if she would like nurse here and then here not, then I would try to like pump on that side that she didn't nurse from, and I would put like the haka on the other side to just collect any letdown if ever. And I think that helped as well in the beginning, even if I technically don't need to do that. I think it helped to increase your milk supply. I have a slight oversupply, so I'm making basically double of what she needs. So when I was just nursing completely, then I would nurse her, and then I would just have a haka on the other side that she isn't nursing from, and then I would just collect the letdown from that, and then just create my freezer stash from there. Nurse as often as you can, and try to offer both sides as much as possible when your baby needs feeding, because it really helps to like stimulate the milk and make sure that your body knows, okay, I need to produce more milk, baby needs more milk, so I need to produce more milk. It's really like a supply and demand kind of thing. So the more that you latch and you nurse them, and the more that you empty your boobs, then the more your body just produces, because it feels that you need more. So yeah, if you can empty them as much as possible, do that. Another thing that I've been doing since the beginning is that there are times when baby doesn't feed as much because I guess that she's like quite full or something like that. You obviously are not going to force your baby to drink even more if they're obviously like content and don't want to drink even more. And if I feel that I'm still like pretty full, then I would pump exceptionally. If I feel that, then you know, I get the milk still, even if she technically didn't really need it at that time, because otherwise it's a bit of a waste. And another thing that I've been doing is that I will pump in the morning and also at night. So I'll try to empty my breasts out in the morning and then empty them out also at night. Even if she doesn't latch anymore that time, like even if she latched like an hour and a half ago, for example, at night, then like just before I go to sleep, because obviously I put her to bed and then I do other things still afterwards. And so like just before I sleep, then I try to empty it as much as I can so I get like an extra session. And I think that really helps to like keep up my supply. And also I realized I haven't mentioned it, I'm 4 months postpartum. My baby's 4 months old right now, and I'm still getting really good milk supply. And what I've been doing now is different obviously from what I've been doing in her first month, in her second month. In her first and second months I was mostly nursing and not pumping as much. Now I'm slowly like pumping more, just because she's like, we're trying to get her used to the bottle more. But if that's not your case, that you don't need to put your baby in daycare, or that you don't need them to take bottles necessarily, then obviously it's going to look a little bit different for you. For those moms who are lucky to have babies who are sleeping through the night, my baby is luckily sleeping through the night for most nights. So she sleeps like 10 to 12 hours straight now, which I'm very, very grateful, because my first wasn't doing this at this age. She wasn't. So don't worry if your baby isn't, because it's not the case for everybody. But for the ones who are, if your baby is sleeping longer stretches at night, if you want to make sure that you're continuously having like good supply, still try to pump in the middle of the night or somewhere in between, even if your baby is not awake. That's what I've been doing, especially in the first few months, when she would here and there like sleep straight, and I would still continuously pump, just so that I can keep up my milk supply and it doesn't go down. It's time to feed this one because she's due for another feed. And yeah, I'll continue with the rest of the video then. So I hope this was helpful for you. I tried to pack it in with as much tips and tricks and hacks as much as I can that I know. Like, I'm trying to purge out all the information that I know about increasing your breast milk supply in here. And if you have any other tips that I haven't mentioned, please leave them down below for anyone else who might be reading this and might want to also get some tips, some extra tips. Will be super helpful for other moms. And yeah, if I think of other things still, I will definitely add them as well. And I hope that this was helpful, and that I wish you the best in your breastfeeding journey, your postpartum journey, and I hope that you're doing well, that you're okay, you're taking care of yourself. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!